boys and girls, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of Netflix's new science fiction action film, Atlas, which stars Jennifer Lopez, Sumo Liu, Sterling K. Brown, and Mark Strong, and is directed by Brad Payton. This film follows Atlas Shepard, a brilliant but socially awkward data analyst with a deep distrust for AI, joins a mission to capture a rogue robot which whom she shares a mysterious past with. When plans go awry, her only hope of saving the future of humanity from AI is to trust AI. This film, I was kind of anticipating this movie for some strange reason, and for no knock on anybody involved in this film, I like everybody involved. I really do. I like everything about this production. I like the director. I like the stars of this film and the co-stars of this film. I'm a huge science fiction fan. AI is like the it thing right now that has everybody or the majority of people on planet Earth worried, scared that Skynet is going to take over the Earth. And this just seems like, a perfect film for this day and age. And especially for a group of science fiction fan nuts like myself who historically would run to the theaters to see a movie like this. And I mean, if this movie was to be released in theaters, I probably would have ran to go see this. It's just that type of movie. Everything, it checks all the boxes, should I say. That's previewing this movie. Now, after viewing this movie, it belonged on Netflix. I'm glad I saw it on Netflix. And I will say this. I surprisingly like this movie. I had this movie gave me every excuse not to like it. Every excuse not to like it. But at the end of the day, I walked away from it like, okay. Okay, I seen it. Cool. As I said before, this movie stars Jennifer Lopez, who is not the strongest of actresses, should I say. I'm not in that camp where people certain critics and stuff like that who feel J-Lo can't act. I push back on that in a major way because she can act. I've seen her act. She's a real good actress. I felt she should have been nominated for Academy Award for Hustlers. I think that's the name of it. Is it Hustlers? Regardless, it doesn't matter. Awesome performance in that movie. She was great in Out of Sight from, I don't know, 20 years ago. I know that was a long time ago, but she can act. Now, as of late, some of her outings haven't been up to par. Shotgun Wedding, Mother, those really didn't work for me as far as her performances are concerned. But I do enjoy J-Lo in a few things, and I was scared to death in this movie because going into this, I looked at the cast and I said, you know what? They surrounded her with a lot of comparable actors. It felt like they just put a lot of heavyweight actors around her to kind of counter balance her lack of, it just felt that way. So that gave me serious pause going into this film. Like, is she gonna tear this movie down? This is a big budget film. This is a big blockbuster caliber film. It's just on Netflix. And so why is it on Netflix? Maybe because it stars Jennifer Lopez. This is what's going through my mind as I'm hyping myself up to watch this movie. Well, J-Lo wasn't bad. She wasn't bad. She wasn't all that good, but she wasn't bad. Some scenes I bought from her. Some of the emotional scenes I got. I felt. And then there was we'll go from a heavy scene with her really acting, and go immediately into a scene where nothing she was selling and nothing she was saying was getting through to me. I wasn't buying it. I just couldn't buy it. And I don't know if it was the writing or just flat out her performance, but it just didn't work. It was all over the place. Sterling K. Brown, really enjoyed him. Wasn't in it enough for me. And that was the problem. When he was on the screen, loved it. The arc of his character, didn't like it. Didn't like how his character ended this film. Uh Sumu Lee, who we all know as Shang-Chi in the MCU. He's the villain in this film. He wasn't in it a lot. To be honest with you, this was like a it wasn't like, this is a Jennifer Lopez movie. It is 75% Jennifer Lopez. And I'm probably off by 10-15% with that. I mean, this was all her movie. Everybody else was glorified cameos, to be honest with you. It was her movie. But yeah, Sumo Lee, I he wasn't in it enough. And it was kind of one note, you know, for the majority of the movie when he was on screen. And then we get to a point where he is, they give him a chance to do something with the role, and it's one scene. One scene. Now, granted, he's a robot, he's AI, it's not like you're going to get a lot of emotion and emoting through his, facial expressions and stuff like that. I get all that. But it was a scene where they had an opportunity to kind of give it that without, him showing his face and all that there. It was just through the performance, and he was giving it, but it was kind of cut short in that scene, and it was frustrating. It was very frustrating. The story, without going into spoilers, I tiptoe around my grading of the performances there. The story is basic. This is a basic sci-fi story. It is nothing here that's going to reinvent the real. You've seen one science fiction film, you've seen this. It's nothing new. It was. I was expecting something. It felt like they were going to set something up for a kind of a twist and turn, but we didn't get that. It was just paint by numbers there, and enjoyable to watch. Don't get me wrong, enjoyable to watch. It is entertaining, but it just nothing new. The direction by Brad Payton. Brad Payton historically has given us some interesting films, to say it kindly. San Andreas, Journey to the Center of the Earth, and Rampage. He's hit and miss. He's hit and miss. And this film, I'm not so much miss, not so much hit. It was just a solid film. They played it safe in a lot of areas. I think the direction was what it was. Like I said before, this was more of Jennifer Lopez in a science fiction castaway type film. That's basically what this movie was. It felt like for a majority of it. Just her in the AI, the good AI. And it basically was what it was. It's one of these films that you watch once and don't need to watch no more. The special effects in here was another thing, hit and miss. They had some good CGI, and then they had some bad CGI. It really fluctuated throughout the film. Like certain scenes, the visual effects were beautiful, and then two scenes later, it looks like they made it on a laptop in the bathroom somewhere. I mean, it just it wasn't really good. It looked like cartoons. It landscapes didn't match. It was just bad. And then they turn around and show you something that was beautiful. I mean, it was really hit and miss. hot and cold. It was nothing lukewarm. It was either hot or cold with the visual effects. Overall, it was an entertaining movie. Just a sit down. You turn on Netflix. Oh, what's on? Let's check out Atlas. That's basically what it is. It's nothing to carve out 2 hours out of your day. Like, oh yeah, I gotta watch Atlas. That I didn't get that. I didn't get that. Even though I end up doing that for this review, but I did it because of the review. But this film was not disappointing, but it wasn't blow your socks off either. Atlas, which stars Jennifer Lopez, currently on Netflix, gets a letter grade of a C minus. Yeah, it's one of those movies that if it's on and nothing else is on, watch it. If you just trying to find something, check out, see what else is on. But if you can't find nothing else, I guess I'll go back go back and watch it. Yeah, it didn't do anything for me. After the movie went off, I forgot the majority of it. The only reason I remember most of it because I wrote it down for this review. But it's very forgettable. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. I would like to know if you enjoyed Atlas. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look up the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of the new Netflix science fiction film, which stars J-Lo, Atlas. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.